This is Graham from Doteasy. We're coming to you with another video. This one we're going to be showing is about our SmartMail service, which is one of the two email platforms we currently support. So we're going to be showing you how to use this in its entirety. We're going to be showing you how to actually create an email account, change all the settings for it, change passwords, check your email, use the email. We're also going to be going through and showing the reports. So this allows you to see who's using how much email, where it's being located in the separate folders, and just how to use it all in general. We're also going to finalize it by setting up an actual email account, showing you how to set it up in POP, show you where to find the settings. We do have actual videos that show you start to finish how to set up email accounts, and also contact our support for help with that. So I'm going to be showing you start to finish how to do this. We're going to start off here from the actual Doteasy website, and we're going to go to the top where it says Member Zone Login. This is where you normally log into your account from. We're going to type in our member ID for it, and then we're going to go ahead and type in the password as well. And I'm going to click continue to sign in to get past the loading screen. From here we need to go under the email heading. We need to go to where it says manage/create email accounts. This will also take us to another loading screen here. If you've actually set a different password for your administrator account like we have, we set it differently just for security reasons. But if you do have a different one, it's going to come into this screen instead. If you've got the same password for both, it's actually going to take you in right away, so you don't even need to worry about it. Then we need to click on where it says continue to sign in, and then it's going to take us again past the loading screen. Now if this is the first time you've actually signed into the account, it's going to come up with a message before this. The message before this is for setting the time zone and asking you what country you're from. The country isn't so much as important, but the time zone is fairly critical. The reason for this is whatever time zone you set in there will actually determine what the hours and what the time based on the email is. Because although it has its own UTC time, it'll set it to your local time zone. That way it'll be a little more applicable and easier to read for you. So do make sure you set that one. You can click on the finish at the bottom of the little box there, and it'll allow you to go through. And then you'll come to here, which is the My Today page. This shows you how much email you have, where it is, what the limit on your account is, and everything for it. You'll also see your email account, the actual folders on the left here. We're going to start off by going to the inbox. This is where you normally receive your email to. So you can see we already have two messages here. They're actually WebHost renewal messages for this account. You may have seen some of these already yourselves. For this account here, you'll see there's a couple different areas. There's the left side, the middle side, and the right side. The right side is the actual email itself, and this will be applying to all of it. So you can reply to the email, reply to all, forward, delete. This all handles strictly just on this email you're already viewing on the right hand side. So if I do any of those options, it doesn't actually reflect any other message there, like the second message for instance. If we go to the add task or the view for content here, this again only applies straight to that one. The middle column here is more of a general set of commands. These apply to everything in the middle column. So for instance, if I select an action and I mark it, it's going to start out by just doing the one I've got highlighted. If I actually check mark everything here and I do the mark, it's going to affect everything in there. So you can very easily handle all your email, set it up the way you want, get it handled very easily. Now whenever you delete messages and you delete them this way, it's going to give you a warning, same as if you delete all messages. Make sure you do click OK if you want to actually get rid of it. If you don't want to delete the message, make sure you don't click OK, because otherwise it's going to try and toss everything away. So if you delete it from here and you delete it from the actual trash can, it's probably gone. It may not be recoverable because you basically told it a couple different times, get rid of it completely. So just make sure when you're deleting things, you're only deleting the one you want. Don't click the delete all messages and folder unless you're absolutely sure you want to get rid of everything. So that's how we can handle and monitor and make changes to the actual email account and just the general usage of it. What we've got here is we're in what's called the domain administrator. From this account, we can actually manifest and make changes to any other account. We can do that by going to the left-hand side to where it says settings. Under settings, we'll see two different kind of sections. This first part where it goes from my settings all the way down to advanced settings, this is just the actual account settings. It's affected this account specifically. If you're in an account that isn't an administrator for whatever reason, if you've chosen not to add it, you'll only see these settings here for it. You'll be able to make changes to the account, such as resetting its own password. You'll be able to set up forwarding. You'll be able to set up how you receive the email, how you read it. You'll be able to set up how you write the email, but you won't be able to change any other account. If you're an administrator account, like this account we're in right now, you'll see the domain settings down to the advanced settings. These are ones that affect more than just the account. They actually affect everything on the domain. So we're going to go under the domain settings to where it says users. And from here we can see we've got two different email accounts set up. So we've got one for sample domain and we've got one called Doteasy. The sample domain we can see is set up as the primary administrator. The other one here is an administrator account. The difference between these two is the primary administrator is always there on the account. You can't remove it. All it's mainly meant therefore is that you have a helper account to change any other accounts anytime you ever need to. The other accounts you set up, you have the freedom to set as you want. You can set them as administrator, set them as just a regular account. You can go ahead and disable the accounts. You can go ahead and delete them. There's no problems whatsoever. So if we want to edit an account, you can easily do that by just simply checkmarking the account, clicking on edit. You can change the password. You don't even need to know what the older password is if you're as an administrator. You just let you freely change it. You can go through and modify any setting for it. So like the reply address, the backup email, size limit it's allowed, all the spaces and everything. So for these here, we're actually going to be covering these in a second when we show you how to create up an account. So we're just kind of glossing over these right now. But you do have the freedom to set up anything for it. All the settings we showed you before for the personal settings, you have the same ability to modify as an administrator for that other account. So even though we're not logged into the Doteasy account, you could see we could fully administrate it. Now whenever you want to create a new account, you just need to click at the top where it says new, and then you can select a user. In this case, we're just going to type in info, and then for this here, it'll be info@sampledomain.net. And we're going to put in the password we want to use for this. Display name is important, but there is no wrong answer here. The display name goes and shows alongside your email address whenever you send anyone an email. So for instance, if I put in the word .easy here, it'll say email from .easy, and then it'll show info@sampledomain.net. So do make sure you keep something appropriate as the display name, and make sure you do put in something in general. The more appropriate it is, or the more applicable it is, will help sometimes get past spam filters. So it is a good idea to make it as applicable as possible. The reply to email address doesn't need anything in here, but if you want it to actually come back to a different email than the one you're sending it to, it is important to put in. And what I mean by that is, if I, for instance, send an email from my info account I'm creating here, and I send it to, say, sampledomain.net, so sampledomain@sampledomain.net, if I reply to this message, it'll actually go to wherever I set here for the reply to email address. So if I, for instance, put in my .easy account, so .easy@sampledomain.net, it means if I was to reply, that actual account would get it, not this one back. So there are a few times you want to apply this, but for the most part, you're going to want to leave this blank. We're actually going to leave it blank in this case. If you need to modify the time zone, you can do that here. If you have users who are, say, traveling or who are all over the world, the time zones are going to be different, so you can set that here. They can, of course, always go in and modify the time zone later on in their own accounts, so it's not end of the world. The backup email address allows you to have a copy of an email sent and stored in a second account. So you can use this if you want to make sure there's an extra account. It's generally better to just use a POP email address and actually set it up and download the messages into your POP program. That way your computer will always have a copy of them. Much better way than doing this, because if you back it up to any other non-domain account, so if you don't back it up to another sampledomain.net in this case, you run the risk of either it being blocked for too much emails being sent to it, maybe spam. So make sure you have it whitelisted, make sure there's no restrictions against it. Otherwise you may find yourself losing emails later on down the road after you've sent enough emails, or if it's sent certain types of emails. So it's better just to leave this blank and use a POP program to back it up in general. And we're going to be showing you how to find the settings for the POP program later, so you can always reference that back. Now for the user status here, we're going to leave this as enabled. You wouldn't normally disable an account when you create it. But if you're going to the settings of any active account, you can always disable it temporarily if you ever don't want a user to use email, or if you're punishing them for whatever reason. Quick, easy way to happen without them knowing what's going on. The mailbox size limit is set by you, but your account has its own mailbox size limit as well. So in this case here, even though our account is unlimited, meaning we have as much space as the actual server hardware can support, the actual account limit is setting it to a default of 100. This means that should you actually send and receive email up to 100 megabytes, it'll stop. It won't let any more email into this specific account, even though we have more space on the domain. If I was to set this to, say, 1 gigabyte, and then I was on a basic hosting plan that only allows for 100 megabytes, you'd have the opposite happen. Even though you're setting it to use 1,000, your actual domain only says you can have 100. So it's going to cap you at 100, and you're not going to be able to go higher than that. So do make sure to keep in mind that whatever plan you're on will set a restriction for it, and you are free to put whatever you want in here, but just do keep that in mind, especially if you want to separate it out evenly between all the users. Then if you're on our starter hosting plan or ultra hosting plan or the basic hosting plan, you want to break it up based on the maximum amount you have of the space. And then the auto clean function, we're actually going to cover that in another video just because it's a whole other can of worms. We're going to be showing you how to set that up later on. So we're just not going to touch it right now. Next options here are enable domain administrator access. You would actually only want to enable this if you want them to have full access to this. If you uncheck it, so leave it unchecked, it'll restrict it so they can't go into it. So in this case here, we're going to leave it unchecked just to show you what it looks like an administrator versus a non-administrator. Where it says disable password change, we're going to enable that in this case as well because we don't want them to be able to change their password. This is extremely helpful for the case of like an info email address because you'll generally have more than one user checking the email for this. And then it's good to make sure that if one person changed the password, you've now got everybody locked out. This prevents that kind of thing from happening. So it's a very good option to do. The hide from the global address list isn't too useful. This will hide it from the list whenever you go in. It really makes it so that only this account can manage it. Very few times you want to do this. You generally want to always leave this enabled so that any of your other administrators can go through and modify it. The enable POP retrieval, you want to make sure to check mark this. That way you can use the POP email service. For the enable IMAP retrieval, this actually isn't fully working yet. We're actually bringing in a premium service later on. So that's really what it's being set up for the testing purposes right now, and we're going to be bringing in later, so just do keep in mind that you can definitely get access to IMAP. You want to make sure to contact us first of all, and we can help set up IMAP on your account. Depending on how your account is set up, we may need to help you make other changes first, but if you do want IMAP, make sure to contact us for support. We'll be more than happy to walk you through how to set that up. Lastly, where it says outgoing email signing, we're not going to check mark that just because we don't want any signing enabled. You can set up signing if you want. It does help to authenticate email, does help to show where it was sent from. We're not going to bother with it. You can always set up an SPF record or another type of thing here for that. We're just going to leave that blank and keep it a little simple here. You can then go through and modify any of the other settings, such as which page you come to, how you write an email, if you want to forward this, if you want to delete the message after forward so it doesn't actually leave a copy in the account. If you have any groups set up, you'll see them showing in here, so you can actually let it assign to a group. So if you send email to a bunch of people, it's included in the group. For the throttling, this allows you to control the user's outgoing email, how many emails they can send per hour. There is definitely a server limit, which will always override whatever you set here. But this allows you to control your own users to see how much they can send. The addressing in the service address, we'd suggest not to modify at all and just leave it the way it is. And then once we're ready to set it up, we just click on save at the top and it instantly creates the account. So now if we go to the actual Doteasy site itself, and we go to webmail sign in at the top, we can then go into the account we just created. Sign in, then go past the loading screen here, and then you're going to see this is a screen we mentioned earlier when you sign into the account for the first time. You're going to see this come up. We're just going to quickly set this here. And in the postal code, you can leave blank. You just mainly want to make sure the first two are there, but number one is, again, the time zone. Click on Finish, and it takes us into the account. So the account is now set up, and you notice it has, for the most part with the email, looks exactly the same. There's no difference between an administrator versus a subscriber. The difference is going to come into when you go into the settings here. So in the settings, you can now see, again, I only have my settings down to here. So the other settings are now gone. So this means you only have certain amounts of things you can change. Now you're going to see some other restrictions here because I set it so they can't change the password. They now can no longer go in and do that. They would have to contact you as the administrator to do it. Otherwise, they have the freedom to set up whether they want a reply address. They can control how their email works for receiving or sending. They can go through and set up forwarding. Not a problem. They have everything they need in order to work their actual email account. Then if we go ahead and we just log out of this one, and then we come back here. So this is, again, the main one. It's going to give us a message saying we signed out, just because whenever you sign into the second account, it's going to kick you out of this one for security. So we're just going to go ahead and sign back in. And if you don't remember what it is, again, you can just follow the first steps to go back in through the member zone and then through the manage/create email accounts, and that'll take you in that way. And then we're back into our account. Now in here you can see a basic breakup of your actual account itself. So the inbox of junk mail, what the actual limit for the account is, and then what we want for the currently used and everything else. So we're going to go in here and we're going to go to reports. Now reports is where you can actually check to see what everyone else is using here. And for the users here, you can now see for your own account personally, it says the inbox, deleted items, junk mail, sent messages. So in here you can see a basic breakup. Now, because in our account we've only got a couple kilobytes of email, it's going to round it down to 0. So if you ever see a dash here, that means there is actually physically no email in that folder. If you see a number here, even if it shows 0, that means there is actually email there. It's just rounding it down, or it's not showing it because there's not enough to show up as an actual number. Otherwise, you'll see another number like 5, 10, 15, 20, however much. When you're under here, it'll always go to the disk usage of just your account to begin with. If you want to check out everybody's usage, you can go under domain settings, under traffic reports, and disk usage. Here you'll see the 3 accounts we have set up. You can click on any account, specifically, let's say the Doteasy one. It shows here there's no email in the account because it's just a test account we created earlier. So once we're in here, this allows you to go through and see exactly what it is. You can see a breakup of, oh, if I had 100 megabytes in the delete items, it would show that. So if you ever get a warning about storage size, you can easily go in here from any of your accounts to check out your own usage to find out which folders are using up the email storage space. If you're the administrator, you can go in here to find out who's using what. So if you ever get a domain level warning saying like 80% of your overall usage for the entire domain is used up, you can now find out who's using it up, where it is, and you can either go ahead and delete it for them, or you can go ahead and be nice enough to ask them to delete it on their own. So this way you can easily go ahead and modify and control everything on the account. You can also check the settings, go through and do anything to see where the email is. Very easy to set up, very easy to use. You may need to familiarize yourself a little bit if you're not too comfortable with using it, but it is quite simply easy to use for an email platform. The last thing we're going to show you is how to find the actual POP email account information. So in order to do this, we need to go back to the Doteasy website. And on the website, we need to go back into Member Zone. In the Member Zone, we need to log back into our account. And then continue to sign in to go past the loading screen. You'll find this under the quick reference heading for where it says email client info. So here you'll see it's going to bring us back. Here's all the actual POP account information for the account. So the incoming mail server and the outgoing mail server are actually the same thing. It's mail dot and then your domain name. So in this case, mail.sampledomain.net. The incoming port is always 110, so you don't need to worry about that. The outgoing port is, you almost always want to use 587. The reason why is port 25 will generally be either reserved for your local internet provider or just outright blocked. So port 587 will generally have a better result. If you ever find your email not working for whatever reason, just for sending side of things, you can always go in and modify it and switch it to 25 if it's on 587, or vice versa, switch it off of 25 to 587. The username for it is always just your actual email address. So in the case we set up with info@sampledomain.net, that's our username right there, info@sampledomain.net. Where it says password, you just type in the email password you set up for the account. If you ever need to change your password through the server, make sure to go through and change it in your POP client. That way it takes effect. And then for the authentication is required, it's just letting you know that you need to make sure to set the outgoing to use the authentication. Generally just a check mark in most programs. Make sure that it's actually checking the outgoing server, otherwise you will definitely get errors. Now if you have any problems with the actual POP setup, best to contact our support. Let us know exactly what email program you're setting it up for. If you're setting it up on a phone or tablet, let us know specifically which one, which version. We'll be more than happy to help walk you through start to finish how to set that up. It's actually quite a simple process, but we'll be more than happy. If you get any problems with it, say settings not working or something's not working, just give us a quick call again as well. We'll be more than happy to help you out. You can also reach us via live chat or email, whichever is more convenient for you. But otherwise, that's everything you need here to start using your email. It already works through webmail. This will help you set up the POP program. So now you can use your email completely through the SmartMail. Now, if you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them here for us. We'll be more than happy to help you out. If you have any other videos or anything you're not sure of, let us know. We'll try and answer it back, or we may even create other videos about it. Make sure to like us on Facebook, make sure to follow us on Twitter, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can check out more videos as we make them available and any other information coming your way as well. Thank you.